Hey guys, welcome to 6 feet 2 inches vlog. So today we are going to complete the memory lecture. This is the lecture number 4 in the series of memory. If you haven't seen the previous lectures, then please do go through the lectures and also read the chapter first along with watching this lecture. So about me, I am NET JRF and SET qualified in 2019 right after my master's in psychology. So let's continue the lecture. Okay, so this is the last lecture on the memory chapter, and we will be covering forgetting theories and some important concepts about psychologists who did work in this field and also about amnesia. So let's start with some important terms and about Ebbinghaus and forgetting curve. So do you remember what you had for dinner or breakfast 2 years ago? What if you remembered all the details of life? Do you think it's possible? What if you remember everything and you never forget anything? It is possible in one syndrome which is known as hyperthymesia. Hyperthymesia is also known as highly superior autobiographical memory. It means that a person is able to recall the vast majority of personal experiences and events in his or her life. That is the autobiographical or episodic memory of a person. For example, we don't remember, right? Like what we had for the dinner 2 years ago. But in such exceptional case, like this syndrome, I mean hyperthymesia, in this case, the individual never forgets anything. This condition is extremely rare. So just for your information and just so you should know the term, I've given it in this lecture. And it's like around, if you see the statistics, like it is around like only 61 cases around in the whole world. So it's extremely rare condition to have. And let's go to the Ebbinghaus. So about Hermann Ebbinghaus, he was the first researcher to study the forgetting and who carried out the experiment in the memory. He made himself the subject of his own experiment. What he did was he created a list of nonsense syllables, like for example GEXYOL, XOL, or it goes on. A list like this, it does not carry any meaning, right? So what he did was he tried to memorize this list, and after a while he tried to recall the this list which he had memorized, and he observed that slowly the information was like forgotten within an hour of learning. And this is what is known as curve of forgetting. So if you are asked in the examination who has given the curve of forgetting, they could give you the options, and its answer will be Hermann Ebbinghaus. He is the first one to carry out the research, and this is regarding the memory and also about the fact that meaningful information is forgotten slowly. Even, I mean, there is also a chance, even if the list had been about meaningful words, unlike the words which is given here, which is like YOL, which is not meaningful, still you would have forgotten the information. But as compared to this nonsense syllables, meaningful information is forgotten slowly. And we have seen this in our previous lectures that uh, when you do elaborative rehearsal and when you connect information with previous information or try to link it up with something, I mean, if you process the information deeply, then you won't forget that information easily. So this is one reason, and yet it is forgotten if you do not practice or revise. So that is the forgetting curve right after learning. So meaningful information is forgotten slowly, but still it also shows forgetting curve right after the learning. Hence revision is important. Okay, so now we are going to study theories of forgetting. The first one is encoding failure. which means that failure to process information into memory because the information is not attended. So, for example, you're watching this lecture right now, right? So, if I am giving you this information and if you're not paying attention to whatever I am telling you or the way I am explaining, then the chances are that you will not be able to process this lecture into your memory. Hence, you will not remember anything. So, that's encoding failure. And there is another theory called memory trace decay theory. So what memory trace exactly mean? So it is the physical change in the brain that occurs when memory is formed. Whenever our memory is formed, there is change taking place on neural level in the brain, I mean, and physical change takes place in the brain. And decay means decay, there is also another term for decay which is disuse. So it means loss of memory due to the passage of time during which the memory trace is not used. So for example, now you are watching this lecture, and if you do not revise these concepts, or if you just after some time suddenly I ask you some questions based on this concept and you have not revised anything, but you have watched the lecture only once, then the chance is that you will forget the information because you are not using the information. And over the period of time, this memory trace, I mean the physical changes in the brain, it will start fading away. So that's memory trace decay theory. So disuse, I told you that it's the same term which you can use for decay. So disuse is used in the case of long-term memory. It's another name for decay, according to which memories that are not used will eventually decay and disappear. Decay means like fading away. It will just decay completely. I mean, you will forget it. So this is one of the theory. Now we are going to study interference theory. So sometimes we are unable to access or retrieve the information because other information is interfering. So please mark this extremely important concept as it can be confusing to remember and recall during MCQs or your entrance examination, or even while explaining this concept to someone else. So there are two types in interference theory. One is proactive interference. It is when a memory retrieval problem that occurs when older information prevents or interferes with the retrieval of newer information. So for example, when you get a new mobile phone, okay, for example, you got a new smartphone which has Android system in it, and your old phone was of Windows system. So what happened is you are unable to use your new mobile phone because the information of your Windows operating system is interfering your new mobile phone. Are you getting it? You mean it means that you are unable to like uh, retrieve the newer information because the older information is preventing you from learning it because it's interfering. So the trick to remember this is, first of all, it's pro means new. So you can easily recall that, okay, so proactive is given, it means that I'm unable to recall the newer information. Why? Because the older one is preventing or interfering. Here the trick to remember is, imagine that your ex-girlfriend or boyfriend killed your new girlfriend or boyfriend. So X means past, that is old information. Killing means unable to recall, and new means the present or new information. So that's the trick you can use to remember. You can also note down in your notes. And the second is retroactive interference. So it is when memory retrieval problem that occurs when new information prevents or interferes with the retrieval of older information. So example, when you get used to your new phone, that when you again switch back to the old phone, you are unable to remember its function because your new phone's function is interfering the retrieval of old phone's function. So for example, I just explained you, right, how you got a new mobile phone of Android system, And now you have learned the functions of Android. You are now perfectly able to use your new mobile phone, the new operating system. But again, if you go back to your older mobile phone, which was of Windows mobile phone, and when you are unable to use your old mobile phone because the information of new mobile phone, that is your Android phone, is interfering with the information of uh, old phone, like it's causing you to unable to recall or retrieve the old information. That is retroactive interference. So remember, retro means old. So this is the keyword which you can use, that inability to recall or retrieve the old information due to the present one. So here the trick to remember is your present spouse, I mean your present girlfriend or boyfriend killed your ex-girlfriend or boyfriend. So again, the present here is the new information, and killing means an inability to retrieve or recall, and your ex means your past information. Okay, now we are going to study amnesia and some important terms in this chapter. Amnesia is basically about forgetting. It's a disorder, it's a memory disorder, and it's organic in cause. So, first we will be seeing engram. Engram is the physical change that takes place in the brain when a memory is formed. I told you, right, whenever we learn something or whenever a memory is formed, neural connection and changes takes place in our brain. So the physical change which is taking place is called engram, and consolidation is the changes that take place in the structure and functioning of neurons when an engram is formed. So when the physical change takes place, the functioning of neuron is also changed. So that change which is taking place because there is a change in the physical structure or physical change due to the formation of engram, it is called consolidation. And now we are going to see the case of HM. So he had epileptic seizures. So doctor thought that hippocampus area might be related to it. So his hippocampus was removed in a surgery, and after the surgery, the doctor observed that the HM was unable to form new long-term memories. Like his declarative memory, both semantic and episodic memory, were lost. We have seen this in previous lectures. Please go to the lectures if you don't remember what declarative or procedural memory is. So he was unable to form new memories, and his procedural memories was intact. Like he was able to tie his shoes. You know the procedural memories. If you don't remember, please again go back to the lectures and check in your notes. So then the doctors realized that hippocampus is actually a part of limbic system, and it is responsible for the formation of new long-term memories. So we are going to study the types of amnesia. So it's retrograde amnesia, the first one. I told you the trick in the previous, the proactive and retroactive interference, right? So you have to focus on the keywords. So the keyword here is retro. And what does retro mean? Retro means old, right? So it's the loss of memory from the point of some injury or trauma backwards, or loss of memory for the past. So here the past memory is lost in the retrograde amnesia. And in anterograde amnesia, it means like you are unable to form any new memories. For example, just now I explained you the case of HM. When his hippocampus was removed, he was unable to form any new long-term memories. So this is anterograde amnesia. That is the loss of memories from the point of injury or illness forward. Third one is infantile amnesia. which means that we don't recall anything about our childhood or whatever the before the age 3, right? So it's the infantile amnesia, that is the inability to retrieve memories from much before age 3. So now we are going to do the concept check MCQs. The first one is the physical dress of the memory is called. Okay, this question was asked in the set examination 2019, and I told you, I have explained in this lecture, so please just revise the lecture again. If you're unable to answer, take your time to answer, then check the answer. Okay, so the answer is B. The second question now. Raj was in car accident and suffered a concussion. After he recovered, he found that he could not remember the accident itself or the events of the morning leading up to the accident. He had which kind of amnesia? A. Anterograde. B. Retrograde. C. Infantile amnesia. D. Dementia. Try to answer it by yourself, then check the answer. Okay, so the answer is B. Okay, so thanks for watching. Do subscribe and share the video with your friends, and stay tuned for more upcoming conceptual videos related to NET, JRF, set psychology, and for MCQs, which will be uploaded once a week based on the all the lectures which I will be sharing from Monday to Saturday.